Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming on my brand new DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which I got to be my new vlogging camera because my old one broke. But I wanted to still try it for a sit down video to see how it works compared to my DSLR. And it is that time again for me to go through the books I read in May, my haul from the month, and my June TBR, which I am planning to use my TBR jar to help me pick. I believe I very ambitiously put 7 books on my TBR for May and only read 3 of them. Not my best work, but I was pretty busy. I was traveling and we had a lot of plans this month. So I am hoping for better in June. First book that I read this month and finally finished, because I have been reading this for several months, is Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas, the 4th book of the Throne of Glass series. And I know this is a very highly raved about series, but this book was kind of a drag for me. I just found it hard to stay really engaged with the story because this series specifically, I feel like all of these books are a lot of buildup up until the end, and then at the end, it picks up a lot more, and that was the same case with this one. So I did love to see Aylin's self-acceptance and empowerment by the end of this book. I am hoping that the pace does pick up though for the rest of the series. I rated Air of Fire at 3 stars. The next 2 books I read, I don't own physically, but this next one I'm going to talk about is one I read on my Kindle, and it's actually an ARC that I received, and it is The Burning Side by Sarah DeMoff. This one is such a stunningly written story. I found myself highlighting a lot of quotes in this book, and it's just so real and raw, similar to The Bright Years, which is by the same author. It just explores a lot of elements of everyday life that a lot of people go through, deal with, things like marriage, grief, family, insecurities, the passage of time, which is a subject that gets me emotional often. But these characters just felt real, and I found myself resonating with bits and pieces of each of their lives, which I love. Sometimes there's one specific character in a book that I completely feel like I relate to, and that's always great. But in this case, when you feel like you can relate to little bits here and there of characters who maybe aren't the same age as you or have had different experiences, but there's this one thing about them that you feel like you connect with, I feel like that's even more special in a way. Similar to The Bright Years, I did think I would have a more emotional reaction at the end of this one, but I did not. So I ended up rating it 4 stars. The last book I read in May is an audiobook I listened to, and it is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This one is a nonfiction memoir, and Chanel actually narrates the audiobook, but she is telling her story about being sexually assaulted and the aftermath of it all. What I found to be most impactful about this book is the way she told her story. She did it in a way that I feel like empowers other women to speak their truth and really exposes the injustices that women experience when this does happen to them. The court system really does a disservice to cases like these, and that is at the cost of so much. Like, this is people's lives and like well-being we're talking about. This is the type of book that I feel like if everybody in the world read it and gained an understanding of what this experience is like, the world could be a better place. I usually don't even rate memoirs, but I did give this one 5 stars because I just think it is extremely impactful. As much as I'm not trying to add to my already very full TBR cart that has stacks going up towards the ceiling, I did buy a few books this month, so let me show you what I got. The first is Sunburn. This is by Chloe Michelle Howarth, and I think this is just classified as a fiction book, and it is LGBTQ plus. This one I don't know a lot about, honestly. The cover and what I did hear about the premise drew me in. It also just looks like the perfect book to read in the summertime. I just want to be on a beach and reading this book. It's literally called Sunburn. Not that you should get a sunburn, please wear your sunscreen. It says, like at the end of the blurb, tender and heartbreaking, Sunburn portrays the realities of growing up in a small rural town and the realities of finding out that you're not who you're expected to be. I believe it's about two friends who fall in love, but I don't really know much else beyond that. So we will see. Then for my May Book of the Month box, which I did not get to show you in my last video because it did not arrive yet, I got one of my most anticipated reads of the year, which is Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune. I loved One Golden Summer so much that I have been really looking forward to this one, and I have it on my 26 books to read in 2026, so definitely want to get around to it this summer. Again, Scream Summer, love the cover. These are probably like one of the prettiest series of book covers I have ever seen. I love how it looks like a watercolor painting. Like you can see the drips on it, like as if it's a real painting. I believe this one is Childhood Friends to Lovers. Also from Book of the Month, I got an add-on, which is Into the Blue by Emma Brody. I really got this because I have been seeing so much hype around it on the internet lately. I feel like I've seen a lot of people read it and love it. So again, don't know a lot about it. I'm just easily influenced, you guys. And if I start seeing a book everywhere, I need it. It says it is an epic, decade-spanning love story that blazes through the worlds of acting and comedy and charts a connection so powerful it might just break space and time itself. Sounds like it's going to emotionally destroy me. Oh, I know what I saw. It was a video of Destiny. I will put her at somewhere. And she was talking about like being up in the middle of the night crying, not just crying, sobbing at this book. And I want to do that. Now I want to decide on my June TBR, at least for my physical reads. I've already started an audiobook and I know what I want to read on my Kindle. So on audio, I actually got the audiobook through Libby for Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I also have this physical copy of. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one of the only other books of hers I have left to read in like the decades series. It's not really a series, they're all standalones, but they kind of take place throughout different decades in history. My favorites being Daisy Jones and the Six and Atmosphere, but this one, again, been waiting to read it in the summer because hello, there's literally people serving on the cover. And again, got the audiobook, which Julia Whelan narrates, and I didn't even realize that until I started it, but what a serendipitous coincidence. On my Kindle, a book that I actually almost finished with now that I started in May and just am gonna finish in June is Dolly All the Time by Annabelle Monaghan. I also got the arc of this. It is now out and published for the world, so if you want to read it, you can. So planning to do that, and I also have a couple other arcs I really need to catch up on. One being To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast. This one was one I thought I was going to get to in May and did not. And Every Exquisite Thing by Laura Stephen, because that book came out already. And I also want to read the first book of the Off-Campus series so I can watch the show. And the next book of the Throne of Glass series, Heated Rivalry. Honestly, the list goes on. So my Kindle reads, I'm not even going to try to add anything else to right now. It is time for me to pick prompts for my TBR jar to hopefully reduce this physical TBR a little bit this month. Again, it did not do too much physical reading this past month, so we always hope to be better than we were yesterday. You know what I mean? I definitely am prioritizing certain books that I want to read in the summertime specifically. Like there are some books that are definitely more dark academia, fall time reads that I'm not going to be picking. And honestly, I kind of want to go through my whole TBR cart and choose my priority summer TBR. But let me pick my first prompt. This one says, choose a book with a cover that matches your outfit. I'm currently wearing an orange and white little pattern top and green pants. So let me take a look here. Okay, I found two that I feel like match my outfit the most that I would not mind reading at this time of year. and they are How to Write a Love Story by Catherine Walsh. This is the same author that wrote Holiday Romance and Snowed In. I've read Holiday Romance and thought it was cute. So I want to read this one, and it looks like a book about books, but this cover is really pretty. It's like a little sunset or sunrise, and I love a good sunset. Also got The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center, and assuming it's a rom-com, but I actually have yet to read anything by Catherine Center. So this would be trying out a new author. It's got pink sprayed edges on this one. And this one has definitely got the orange, white, and green. Actually, they both do. If you look at the covers, these both have orange, white, and green, all of the colors that I am wearing. I think I'm going to go with the rom-commers simply because, like I said, it would be trying out a new author, and I've had this book for longer. Okay, I'm just going to choose one more because, again, a lot of reads on my radar at the moment. So this one says, choose a book that is part of a series. Honestly, I keep most of the books that are part of a series in a different room on a different bookshelf, but I think there's one on here that I can definitely choose. So here's the thing. On my TBR cart, I do have Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This is a cowboy romance. It is the 4th book of the Rebel Blue Ranch series. It's the last one, actually. I have read the other 3. So this is an option, but I have Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune that I just talked about, and I know I definitely want to get to. So I am actually going to go with this one again because it is on my 26 books to read in 2026. And that's my final decision. No takebacks. That's a wrap for now. So thank you for watching. I hope you will stick around for more. I have vlogs I definitely want to film with my new camera, and I will see you guys in the next one. There's a fly. Ah! It's trying to attack me.